Hey, Miss Amber.
Hey, Tanya, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent.
Awesome. So we have an extraordinary show, and it's going to go long. It's going to be a great show, and we are going to have so much fun for the entire show. But I wanted to take a minute to talk about IshCon and a few things that we got at IshCon. And I've got a videos that we're going to show. And so, hi everyone, welcome. We have Cornboy tonight that we are super excited to welcome to the show. And we have Curtis coming on to help us with the news because he was talking yesterday with our buddy Jeremy, and he may have some really, really good stuff to tell us. So we're going to bring Curtis on for that. But first, one of the things that I picked up when we were at Legion's Con, and you guys know that I'm not
IshCon
necessarily IshCon, right? IshCon picked up at IshCon. You guys know that I'm not normally a big cosmic person, but tell me, beautiful.
Oh,
is she not gorgeous? And that pink just reminded me of the Legions ladies, and I had to have it. And so that was one of the things. But something really cool that happened is our sponsor, Immortal Collections, was there at IshCon and gifted me a very beautiful lady who is amazing. Of course, all the soft goods are done by Jenny, and Carlo and Tristan, you know, the head and the paint and stuff, and she is gorgeous. But the thing that I love the most, that I was so excited, and I had Ryan get this for me.
Oh, look at that soft. Look at that soft. Oh my God, it's little me. It's a little Amber. What? Oh my God. That's so cool. Look how much detail she put in here. Oh, that's so special.
What?
The little Amber, wasn't that adorable? Did you love it?
I brought back the mohawk in inspiration of it.
That was so amazing, and I could not tell you before. And I made sure that Ryan took a video of you opening because I was so excited.
The cheeks are getting red.
Did you love it?
Oh my God, it's so cute.
Yes. Carlo and Tristan and Jenny, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Out of the park.
They did. So thank you. Both were immensely gorgeous, and we are
beautiful.
Yes, and we are so appreciative. So thank you very much.
Over the moon
for that. Yeah. All right, now let's bring on our guest. We have the infamous, inevitable Curtis Ackerman, and of course our great guest tonight that we are super excited to talk more to, Cornboy. Welcome to both of you. We are excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, Curtis, you're running the gauntlet.
Yep, towards the tail end at this point. It's been a busy week.
It has. Are you tired? Are you like?
I'm ready for a break. Yeah.
I bet you are.
But it's been fun. I mean, every show has brought a little something different. So It speaks volumes to what this community has become and how much content there is out there for this toy line. So,
well, we're excited to have you on with us tonight to go over the news. After this, you are on with. You said you were on.
I'll pop on with Jesse on Mythic Minute later, and then I'll be on Off-World tomorrow, and then that's it. It's over.
Almost done.
Yeah. Lynn says I should retire from YouTube after tomorrow. So
Well, looks like Rye says that you should end where it started. So looks like you're on SDL again.
yeah, that'll work. I love hanging out with those guys.
Well, we're super excited to have you on here. First of all, let's go back a little bit. IshCon, Ish did a kit bash, and we have the winners for that. And what they won. So Maverick got a test shot, and then we have Cullen who got another test shot. Yeah, and then woohoo, Stephanie!
We love you.
We had that one as a shelf selection a few weeks back.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah,
she did such a great job with that. It really is beautiful. Cool. And then Anthony Halseal won, as well as Jonathan Hughes.
Nice.
And just great kit bashes, great prizes. Ish, you knocked that one out of the park. And Steph, we as the ladies are super excited that you took one home. Woohoo!
Proud of you.
Yay!
Congratulations, everybody.
And then Jeremy surprised us this week with this, saying that the Book of Helvecatar was not done. And what does it say? While the cosmic story has moved past the first two waves onto the Oxroom, rest assured that we will be fully fleshing out the story that happens within this Tusk facility. All right, Curtis. What's going to happen?
I have no idea. All I know is that I love the Tusk, especially that Sentry body. So anything more that we get of that, I'm all for it. I know Joe Vassapolo has painted up quite a few different ones in different colors, and I tell you what, if they put out the whole rainbow full of Sentries, I will buy every single one of them. So yeah, I'm just excited for whatever this is.
The Power Rangers of Valkatar.
There you go.
Love that, Cornboy. Love that. Yeah, and again, Nate Barch art. Come on. Mm-hmm. It is beautiful. Awesome. Yeah. I'm excited about this.
Seeing Nate do artwork, and it's just like, this is just a sketch for Nate. It's just a quick sketch, rough sketch.
That's crazy because it is so good.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
So
and scary.
Excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see what this is all about and where this leads. Of course, we're still in the summer of Cosmerium, and super loving this. I have in my head come up with a couple of customs for Cosmics and been able to grab those at great prices. So, from the retailer. So again, 20% off at retailer still. Go get your Cosmic, go clean them out and get them ready for the next waves that are coming in.
Definitely, because what we've got coming up for Cosmic is going to fuel the fire. People are really going to love it. Let's just say that I was editing some Cosmic stuff yesterday, and it's going to look spectacular. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Awesome.
That's so excited. All right. Now, let's see. What else have we got here? Oh, let's talk about this first before we go on.
Oh.
September we have 4 horsemen going to be in 4 different places, East Coast and West Coast. So Arizona Epic Toy Show, September 7th. I believe that's with David Williams and his crew. RetroCon, Amber, you guys are going to that, right?
Sure am.
Also known as
Okay.
JessieCon.
JessieCon.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can't wait for that.
And then we have ToyCon New Jersey in September 14th and 15th.
And I'll get that as well.
I might be able to
What?
sneak in there masked up for a couple days.
Nice.
That will be awesome.
Hope to
Cornboy,
see
they'll be so
you.
excited to see you. And then we're gonna have Fan X again over in Utah, West Coast. So got some things coming up for Four Horsemen. So excited to see more stuff going on the West Coast. So bringing in both coasts.
Yep, a lot of East
All
Coast,
right.
West Coast. Just need some Midwest for some of us folks in the middle.
You can come to us, Curtis. We'll welcome you with open arms.
Where are you, Curtis?
In Missouri.
Do you have any
wait-
big comic conventions, toy conventions out there?
Not in. I'm on the St. Louis side, not here, but I know Cullen's on the Kansas City side, and there may be some out there. I've kind of been waiting to see if Cullen does some sort of street team at some event. I would definitely go across the state for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So now let's go to what we're all here to hear about, because you were with Jeremy yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so excited. So Legion's Con.
It's a busy schedule, huh?
It is. I mean, like, it is crazy how busy we are going to be.
It's
And
going
I
to be
think-
so fun.
Yeah. And all of us are going to be at there on Thursday as well for intern.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all day on Thursday, and Amber and I are doing a show Thursday night
Awesome.
from the hotel.
Oh, really?
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So it is our Thursday night, and I didn't want to miss it because we're going to be there. So I thought maybe we would bring our stuff and do a live show from there somewhere Thursday night if we can, get that worked out. But so yeah, we'll be there all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day.
Wow.
That's fun.
So Curtis,
Wednesday, I think.
yeah, I think we're coming in Wednesday too.
Yeah.
Curtis, what are you most looking forward to? What do you think is going to be one of the most fun things?
I'm really looking forward to the customizing studio event. That's something that Jeremy reached out to me about a while back to see if we wanted, we do that customizing studio every Sunday. I know you and Amber have both been in there from time to time. And, it's just a fun thing that we do where everybody's kind of working on their own individual projects while we're on a video call. Some people working on dios or painting or whatever. And so bringing that to Legions Con and doing a live version of that is something that I'm both kind of excited and nervous about. But we've got some great people helping with it. Some great artists that are going to be set up with their tables, helping people, just kind of sharing painting tips and techniques and painting alongside of them, including Tanya, who will be one of the 6 artist tables. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yay.
What are you nervous about?
It's just the first time that we've done it. See, initially when Jeremy asked me about it, like when we do this stuff, we're on a video call from our own homes with our own paint, our own paintbrushes, our own projects that we're working on. So bringing it to a single location, you can't bring all your projects, you can't bring all your supplies.
Right.
So we had to find something that would kind of work. So Len from Wolf King is actually printing up these busts that we're going to give out, that it's like a wolf with a crown on it and like a tunic torso. That way it's not significantly difficult to paint, and it's not like a human face with, eyes and pupils and all this kind of stuff. So we've got that we're going to be giving out to everybody that's at the event. And Jeremy said the studio would provide us with some brushes and paints. Yeah, this is the bust here. So that's what everybody's going to paint. I think that everything is set up to go well. It's just the first time, and so that makes me a little nervous because I just want everybody to have a great time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm excited and nervous as well. This is going to be the T-shirt that everybody that joins is going to get. I think for me, the nervous part is, I still feel like I'm brand new. So, going in, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing customs, and if you guys have been over to Aslan.creations on Instagram, you've seen some of my customs and some of the things that I've done, and it has been a lot of fun to work on and do, but I still feel like I'm brand new and I feel like I don't know enough.
And that's something that's great about that customizing studio is that each Sunday when you go in there, you've got people from Emil, Joe Vassapolo to, people that just started, like it may be their first time ever painting when they jump in there.
Can you imagine a more welcoming community?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and that's, same way with the artists that we're going to have at these 6 tables. There's a whole different experience. Some have been doing this for a really long time. Some are still fairly new to it. And I think that'll give some variety to the folks that are coming in, depending on what their experience and skill level is. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Again, some of my, customs back here, but a little nervous. I'm new and I'm still learning. And so, but at the same time, you get in the customizing studio and you have the experience and the ability to talk with people who have made some absolutely amazing things. Curtis and Jesse and Emil, and so many amazing artists, Joe, that are in there that when you have questions, when you're stuck, how would you guys do this? Or how would you all make this happen? Or, if I use this paint, how's it going to react to this? Or how's it going to do that? And the things that I have learned have been, I can't tell you, I would never have been able to do what we've done with those customs without the customizing studio.
That's cool.
It is fantastic.
I've been a passer-buyer of the customizing studio. But it's so lovely.
Yeah, for me, it keeps me accountable. Like I know, regardless of what happens during the week, Monday through Saturday, if I can't get to customizing, I try to, but if I can't, I know on Sundays at 1 p.m. I'm going to be painting with my friends. So, just keeps it going.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. So back to Legions Con. We got the customizing studio Friday night. Saturday, what are you looking forward to? What was Jeremy talking about that you thought to yourself, oh, I can't wait to see what this is or what's going on here?
There's a lot of great artists in this room, and I think there's going to be some one of kind pieces that you're going to want to see and get. But that Horseman room with the whole this Legion's Armory experience, there's something about that, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds very exciting. So,
yeah, I'm wondering what that's going to be about too. But what I really was excited to see is they're going to have like a storefront, like it's going to be like you walk into a store and shop. Cool. And I thought that was kind of a neat thing as well. It'd be great to see how that's all set up. Yeah. And then, but yeah, I'm excited about that armory too.
And the tease that I got from Jeremy involves the Legion's Armory experience. Are you guys ready for that now?
Yes. Tell us.
I'm so excited.
He says, if you don't make it to Legion's Con and you miss this Legion's Armory experience, you're going to be green with envy. So
green.
He's so corny.
Yes.
With envy.
Yes. So take from that
I love
what you
him.
will.
Okay, so our tidbit. You
Mhm.
miss Legion's Con,
Mhm, mhm.
don't get to experience, you're going to be green with envy.
Yes.
All right. You
There
all
you
heard
go.
it first. You heard it here first. Yeah, the artists that they're going to have in this, what did he call this room? The
community room.
community showroom. Yeah. I mean, there's some amazing artists. And Curtis, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me show some stuff on your table.
Absolutely. I mean, you
that
came
was-
out
that was-
firing this year, and I definitely wanted you to be able to show those off.
Absolutely.
Well, I truly appreciate it. And I am going to continue working and hope to have not only those 4, which are amazing, but hopefully we'll have some more stuff to show as well that is not team related, at least. But yeah, some of the best artists. Now, I was looking through here, and I believe that like several people are going to be like at a table together. Like you're going to have several people that's going to be sharing tables and stuff. So
yeah, there's quite a few that are sharing.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this looks fantastic, and we cannot wait to be able to do that. I was trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, and do not forget that on Saturday as well, or is this Sunday? Is this Sunday?
Yep.
I'm finishing up my swig to bring, and I'm excited about it. Curtis has already posted pictures of his amazing swig. I mean, come on, Curtis.
I cannot wait to see this.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I mean, we said it last night, you know, if you don't customize, you can definitely just bring a swig right out of the package. You can do a pop and swap. If you do customize and you want to paint one up, you know, be creative. You know, these swigs, when they drink that elixir, they can turn into all kinds of different things. So you can make them whatever you want. Let your creativity fly.
Oh, this has been a lot of fun for me to try to come up with a custom for this, which is what I'm working on right now. But yeah, I mean, just take one out of the box and bring it so that we can actually have 1,000 swigs. I think that is going to be fantastic. Now,
it's amazing how one story can take a figure from, you know, you had people grumbling about getting it in their mystery box, and now all of a sudden it's the talk of the town, and everybody needs as many as they can get. You know,
when Jeremy came up with that, I nearly crapped myself. That was hilarious. Came up with that idea and threw it out there, and wow, it stuck.
Yeah. And it's getting a lot of attention. I mean, like,
yeah,
people are really getting into customizing them. I think they're fantastic. Do we have any idea what the specifics to be revealed from 2 to 4, 10 to 12, and 1 to 3 are, Curtis? Did Jeremy say anything about what to expect there?
He just said that they're 2-hour time slots. They're relatively the same, so you don't need to make it to all 3, but you definitely want to try to make it to one of them. But no, he did not give us any more specifics on that yet. You'll have to see if you can squeeze that out of Cornboy later.
No chance. No chance.
So, and then another thing that Four Horsemen is doing that I thought was amazing is whenever the show closes for the public, then they are going to keep their room open for the exhibitors. And I mean, that's amazing. That's really, really cool that they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that last year too, and it really helped out. Because, you know, there's something it's fun to run a table during the con, but you also miss certain things. And one of them is, being able to stand in the Horseman line and do all this other stuff. So the fact that they give you an opportunity as a vendor to go through and get your chance at that stuff is really cool.
Yeah, we just try not to suck.
You do a good job.
Y'all do a great job at not sucking.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, of course, the showroom, the things, they're going to do the photo of the swigs and then breakdown. And then the con is going to end again with you, Curtis. What are you guys doing for the end of the con?
Yeah, so this is something we just kind of did impromptu last year, where we had set up in the hallway to do kind of a live show, and it just so happened that where we were at was on the way to the bathroom. So everybody that would pass us going to the bathroom, we would pull them on camera, and we did this fun thing where we just asked people like what their most memorable moments of the weekend were. And we got some great stories. It was a really fun episode. So we plan on doing that again. We're going to set up in the exact same space, and anybody that's walking by, we're going to try to get them on camera and see what they enjoyed from the weekend. And it's just kind of a good moment to, take it all in one last time and savor the weekend before, we got another year till the next one. So.
Awesome. Well, we cannot wait for that. All right, Curtis, I think that's the end of the news. Is there anything else that you have for us before you go away? And don't forget, if you miss Legion's Con, you're going to be green.
With envy.
With envy.
Nope, that's it. I really appreciate you guys being on. Look forward to this interview with Cornboy. He was great on New to Mythics the other night. And Cornboy, just love to see you back out and about and within the community. And we definitely missed you last year at Legion's Con. And yeah, we love seeing you. So
thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Curtis. All right. Yay! All right, Cornboy, thank you so much for allowing us to kind of go through the news and what's going on in the world and set everything up. And the interview that Amber and I do is probably not going to be like anything you've ever done before. Which is probably going to be a good thing. So let's go all the way back. Just all the way back. Think back as far as you can.
Way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Muncie, Indiana. It's out in the Midwest, and it was a little college town. And even though it was a college town and there was a decent amount of city around it, it was just a hop, skip, and jump to get out to the woods or to get out to farms and stuff. So it was a good place to grow up, but not so good a place now. It's kind of gone to crap now, but yeah, it was a good place to grow up there.
Gotcha. And can you tell us a little bit about your family? Your mom, your dad, do you have siblings?
Sure. I have
that kind of thing?
I have one younger brother, one older brother, and one younger sister. And neither one of them are into toys or comics or anything like that. No kind of geek culture whatsoever. My mom and dad were very cool with me being a nerd and being a geek when I was growing up and collecting toys and collecting comics. They helped me along when I was doing that stuff. They didn't like tell me that, oh, you can't do this. You can't collect toys. You have to go play football. I'm 6'2", and I was that way through most of high school, and everybody was saying, oh, you should play football or you should play basketball. And mom and dad never pushed me into doing that kind of stuff. I didn't want to do it at all. And awesome. Mom and dad are really cool. They're like you were saying, you had family in Virginia. My family's all from, my mom and dad are from Tennessee originally, and they moved to Muncie and then had me. So they were kind of rednecks in Muncie, and that's how I kind of grew up as a redneck in Muncie. It's
Yeah.
good times. But I also have three kids, 3 boys. They're all fully grown, all off doing their own things. One of them is out in Boise, Idaho. One of them's in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And my youngest one is still living here in New Jersey, but yeah.
They're all over.
Yeah.
I know.
And doing all different kinds of things. That's the other thing is, just like my sister and my brother, my middle son and my youngest son aren't really into comics and toys and stuff. They appreciate what I do, but they aren't into it at all. And my oldest son is a little bit into it. You know, he collects some things here and there, and he reads a comic here and there, but they're all completely different. Like my oldest son, he's a sculptor. He works at Pewabic. What is it? It's Pewabic Ceramics. They do different types of ceramic tiles and ceramic vases and bowls and stuff like that. And he's a kiln technician there. So he's kind of like the artistic end of it. My youngest one, he's an electrician now. He went to school for engineering and ended up going into being an electrician. And then my middle one has always been an adrenaline junkie. He like played lacrosse during his high school years, and got a scholarship, and then decided when he was in college for 6 months, he hated it, wanted to drop out. So he went into the Marines, another adrenaline rush. When he got out, he went to school to be a lineman. That's the guys who climb up and, fix the power lines and everything. Another adrenaline rush. But now he's an EMT. Adrenaline rush again. He just can't stop. But they're all 3 just completely different, completely like they're interested in all completely different things, but they're like brothers. They're really close. All 3 of them just visited together at my oldest son's house in Detroit just this past week. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
fantastic. Yeah. What do they think about like what you do? Like,
you know what, I think now that they've gotten older, they appreciate it a little more, and they think it's kind of cool what we do. When they were growing up, they couldn't give 2 craps about it though. Didn't care at all. Like, I would bring
so you
toys
were the
home.
Cool dad.
Yeah. And I was just dad. I would have toys on my shelves and on my stands and stuff, and I'd bring stuff home and let them play with it, and they were just not all that interested. Even though my oldest son was into action figures somewhat, he was not interested in the stuff I was doing. So, oh well. But now they've gotten a little older and they appreciate it more. They still don't really give a crap, but
what was your favorite thing about your hometown? If you can go back and think about your hometown, like what is the one thing that you really, really loved about your hometown?
Pizza King. There's a pizza place in the Midwest. I don't know if you guys know about it. It's called Pizza King, and it's mostly in Indiana and Ohio. There might be some in Kentucky too, but Pizza King, and it's completely different than any pizza I've had out here on the East Coast. Like, this is the pizza when you come to the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, that's pizza. But
yeah.
When you go back to Muncie, Pizza King is just a different kind of pizza. They cut it Chicago style, which is in squares, and it's everything, like all the pepperonis, the sausages, all the stuff on it is like little diced up pieces all over the pizza, and it's, oh my God, it's so heavenly. And yeah, can't get that out here. So every time I go home, every time I go back to visit, which it's been like almost 3 years now because of COVID, because of my heart issues, all that kind of stuff. Every time I go home and visit, first thing I do Order Pizza King. Pizza King Royal Feast every time.
So we
But I
don't have
guess
a Pizza
what I
King.
miss most is when I was growing up, it was much more of a small town feel, and it's not that way anymore. But Pizza King's still there, so
that's always good.
that's right.
Yeah, we don't have a Pizza King, but we have a Sir Pizza.
Sir Pizza, that's the same place.
Yeah, they cut it up in squares and in little nice things, and it's delicious.
Sir Pizza, Pizza King, and Clara's Pizza, or Clara's Pizza King. Those are all three owned by the same company.
Oh, okay. Well, so there you go.
Yeah, I love it. The Royal Feast. I don't know if Sir Pizza they have Royal Feast there, but I love it.
I don't know if they do or not.
Pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, onions, and green peppers, and it's all diced up and put on there. And oh my goodness, it's really good.
So good.
So if you have a Sir Pizza there, have one in honor of me because I can't.
I will. Yeah. Kevin and I don't do it very often anymore. But there's one close to where his mom lives, which is 15 minutes down the road. And every once in a while, we'll go by there and have pizza because there's just nothing like it. There's no other pizza that tastes as good. So
no, I'm kind of glad that there's not one 15 minutes away from me because I'm fat, but I would be big as a house if I had one close to me.
So what were your first action figures that you collected as a kid?
Migos. I don't know if you know what they are, but they're.
I do.
Okay, well they're 8-inch action figures, and they have real clothing on them. That's actually at least cloth, sculpted heads. And I look back on them now, and they were terrible. But at the time, they were the epitome of beauty to me. When I would pick up one of those figures, it'd be just like, oh, these are heavenly. I had Planet of the Apes and all the Marvel, not all of them, most of the Marvel and DC superheroes and Star Trek. I just loved them. So now that Mezco started doing figures with clothing on them, it just harkens back to the Migos stuff that I collected as a kid. And now I'm a completist on Mezco stuff. I have to have everything. That's all there is on my shelves pretty much right now.
Wow. This is our whole shelf.
I love Mezcos. But yeah, it was Migo figures and also Micronauts, which are 3 3/4 inch. They were called Microman in Japan, but when they came over here, they were called Micronauts, and I love those things, and I love partially how you could take apart and rebuild their ships. That was really cool to me.
So my husband has Migos, and he has on here Star Trek. I know that he has a bunch, and I've seen his collection. He still has a bunch of his from when he was a kid. So, his mom kept almost everything of his. So he has lots of his stuff when he was a kid.
You should try to hunt down a Mezco Spock figure. Like that was one of Mezco's first figures that they released, the Mezco 1/12 Collective, and it's a beautiful figure. Even though it was a figure that was released like in the beginning of what they were doing, it's a fantastic figure. Your husband would probably really love that figure.
Yeah.
But this was my very first action figure. This ugly monkey. He doesn't have any feet. His fingers are all chewed off. The top of his head's chewed up. His eyes are missing. I colored on his face and made him, gave him some fur and stuff when I was little. I love this thing. Now this thing, when I was a little kid, it used to sleep with me all the time. And the only issue with it is that this neck has like a wire around it holding it onto the body. And there's a little right there. There's a little sharp point sticking out, And it used to wake me up in the middle of the night. I'd be hugging on it, and all of a sudden, ow, poke me in the face. And my mom would say it bit me during the night, that I should get rid of it. But nope, still haven't gotten rid of it. My girlfriend's horrified by that thing. She won't let me take it out anywhere. It has to stay here in my room.
In your room?
Yeah.
Gotta be the eyes.
Yeah. I should put some googly eyes in it or something.
Yeah. Do you still have any of your Migos? Do you have any of the other action figures that you collected as a kid?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, where are they at? Right here. Hold on a second.
You just said nightmare fuel.
My pride and joy, my original Fantastic Four figures in the boxes.
Oh, wow.
And they don't have Mego molt on them, which is, they had the Reed Richards and Invisible Woman. They like over the years, for some reason, had kind of grayed out and turned kind of blue, and her hair looked terrible, but mine are pretty darn good in the package. And
those are awesome.
The Human Torch and the Thing. The Thing is my all-time favorite character. And like the Human Torch, he's got clothing, but it's flames. It's ridiculous, but I love it. Oh yeah, and the Thing has rocks that are clothing, but I don't care. I love it.
I think it's awesome.
If they release these now with clothing for rocks, I would think it was ridiculous. But back then, you couldn't stop me from running to the store to buy one of those.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And still in the boxes. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Actually, these are repro boxes, but I do have the original boxes in a lunchbox behind my desk. They were kind of beat up. There was even whoever got them must have gotten them for Christmas, and there was a piece of wrapping paper still taped to the box. And so the boxes are a little beat up, and so I got repro boxes just to keep the figures nice in a repro box. And
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you come by the nickname of Cornboy?
So I'm from Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of corn out there. So when I moved here to New Jersey, this guy that I worked with at a machine shop that I was working at, when I first moved here to New Jersey, I went to the Kubert School. It's a school of cartoon and graphic arts. And while I was doing that, I was working part-time in a machine shop because I'm a machinist by trade. That's what I did back in Indiana until I moved out here. And everybody told me I was screwing my life up by doing that, but whatever. When I was working in a machine shop, this guy working there, he's a Yugoslavian guy named Jovo. And Jovo asked me if they have cowboys in Indiana. Hey, Eric, do they have cowboys in Indiana? And I told him, I was like, no. As a matter of fact, they have cows, but it's not like a large amount of cattle like Texas or something. It's mostly just corn there. And he ate that up. He ran with it. He goes, oh, so you're a corn boy. And from then on, the name stuck. Everybody around that machine shop was calling me Corn Boy after that. So when I went to work and it was just a joke then, it wasn't really a nickname. It was just kind of a joke. But when I went to work at McFarlane Toys, one of the owners there asked me, he said, we've already got an Eric here, because my name's Eric. Eric Mayse. We've already got an Eric here. And so what do we call you? We can't just say Eric or Eric. You'll both look up. And I say, well, just call me Cornboy. That's what they called me at the last place I was at. And that's been it ever since. Everybody just calls me CB now. Whatever. I've been called a ton of different nicknames through the years. So I don't care. I just answer whatever. If you're looking at me and you Say a name. I'll probably answer it.
I'm the same.
Not question it.
Like, yes.
Yep. Hey, buddy.
So you went to the Kubert School.
Yep.
Did you collect comics? Like, what gave you the idea to go to the Kubert School?
I was a huge comic collector when I was in Indiana. Like, one of my earliest things that I remember is going to this bookstore, and it had comics in it, and it had both new comics and, you know, old back issues and stuff. And it wasn't like the back issues that you have now where they board and bag them and put them in these long boxes and stuff. They were just on the shelf, like you go into a supermarket and you see magazines on the shelves. That's the way these comics, the older comics were. The newer comics were on the normal comic rack. But then what you could do is you go to that store and you can trade in your old comics that I don't like, or comics that I didn't appreciate the artist or whatever. You could trade those in, and they were, if you trade 2 comics plus a nickel, I don't know why plus a nickel, but if you trade 2 comics plus a nickel, you could get 1 comic off the shelves, whatever comic you wanted. And I was doing a lot of that. Well, a couple of years into doing that, my best friend and I growing up, Danny Smith, he and I found a house that was like boarded up and everything. And being snotty kids, we broke into it because, you know, they boarded it up. And we looked around and the floor was literally just covered in comics and porn magazines. So we were freaking out, going, "Oh my God!" So we're going through, like, picking things up, and these weren't like, you know, just beat up comics. They were like really decent, like almost pristine looking stuff. And Danny said, "Oh, I'm going to keep the Penthouses and Playboys and Hustlers." And I knew my mom and dad were fairly religious, and there was no way I was going to get to keep that stuff. So I said, "Well, I'll just take all the comics." So I took all the comics home, and Danny took the Hustlers and all the porn mags, and his mom found them and threw them all out.
Threw them out.
I took the comics that I didn't want. There were probably 300-400 comic books, and I took the ones that I didn't want to the comic shop and traded them in for comics. And that was awesome. I loved that. And at that time, like before I could only go there with my mom. Whenever my mom went there, then I got to go. But later on, I was allowed to ride the bus, and I took the bus out to the comic book shop. It was about, I don't know, 10 miles away, 20 miles away. I don't know how far it was. It seemed like a long time. It seemed like a long journey, but it was worth it to go get comic books. It was awesome.
That's amazing. So my husband was a big comic book collector as well, and he would collect glass bottles and take them up to the grocery store, Big Star, and trade in the glass bottles and get money, and then buy comics to take home.
Yeah. Do they even do that anymore? Do they collect?
I don't think they do that anymore, but he did.
I remember. I remember
years.
that when they would collect bottles and you get money back for them.
So after looking at the comics and being into comic books and really appreciating and loving the art, kind of what made you think, "Oh, I'm going to go to this school and learn more about it"? Or were you drawing?
I was
did you have
drawing constantly. Whenever I wasn't working in a machine shop, I even bought a drawing table, and I was sitting there drawing, and I said, one day I want to do this. And then I found out there was Kubert School, and I was like, wow, this is where I'm going to go and do this, because that's awesome that I get to go and learn how to actually make them. I'm just drawing comic books myself. It's, these crappy little things that, they have panels and everything, but they're not really good. And I'm going to get to go to Kubert School. And my wife actually talked me into it. Like, I moved my whole family out here from Indiana. Like I moved my wife and all 3 kids out here, and I can't thank her enough for pushing me into that, because I was just like, oh, it'd be fun, but I'm not going to do that. I'm working at a machine shop. I'm making decent money. We've got our cars. We got a house. We owned a house. We sold it to move out here. And I never thought that, I would do anything like that. And she talked me into it, and I'm so glad she did, because we
are too.
We moved out here, and I didn't know that toys were made here in the States. So, I was just doing comic books. And when I found out that they were, that the design work and prototyping and stuff like that, a lot of it is done here. That's what I went for.
So
I
have something that we're going to show everybody from your time when you were at school that you sent to me that I am excited to show. These are, can you tell us a little bit about what this is?
Well, what this was an assignment, and I don't remember if it was first year or second year. I only went about halfway through the second year before I got hired full-time at McFarlane Toys, but I don't remember which year it was in, but it was a assignment that we had, designing the cover of a comic and designing like ads for a comic and stuff like that. And so I came up with these characters, and they're called the Anarch Kids, and that's what this is. And there's I don't remember their names at this point, but the main guy there that I do remember, that's right in front, is Kid Squid. But
that's cool.
Remember the names. I don't remember the names of the other ones.
Can I just tell you that the girl with the wings?
Yeah.
Like I wanna create her. Like I saw this, and the first thing in my mind was, okay, I'm gonna create her. So if you're okay with it, CB, I'm gonna take this photo and I'm gonna figure out how to do her.
I would love that. Awesome. That'd be awesome. I've always wanted to make these into action figures myself, but never have gotten the chance to yet. Been too busy with everything else. So,
well, if I can figure it out, it may take me a while, but she's on my list. I love her, and I think she's amazing. So,
awesome. And the girl up close to the front with the big muscles, she normally wears like a big loose fitting leather jacket to kind of hide her arms and everything, because she was made to think that girls shouldn't have muscles, and she couldn't help it. Like her muscles just grew, and she became super strong. But so she usually wore a jacket, but I decided on this just to leave it off.
The creativity here that I saw, and I was flabbergasted at some of the things that you sent me, and we're going to show them as we go on and talk. But
the stuff that I sent you,
talking about
the stuff that I sent you is just like a droplet of everything that we've done for toy companies over the years. Like myself and Eric, we were drawing all the time, designing all that stuff. It was crazy. So I would like to show it off someday.
Everybody hang around. Well, I'm going to show it off here as we're talking and stuff. We're going to show more here. But while we were talking about Kubert School, I wanted to bring those up. They are amazing. And I cannot wait to show everybody else some of the other stuff you sent me. They are amazing. What is the first thing that you like in your mind? Like, if you can think back, do you remember like the first thing that you started drawing?
Wow. One thing that I remember, when Danny Smith, I mentioned him earlier, and I were little.
Yep.
We lived 2 houses down from each other, and every weekend, nonstop, and he never failed. He would, like, one of us would spend the night at one of our houses on Friday, and then one of us would spend the night at the other one's house on Saturday. We were always together. And even when we weren't spending the night together, we had walkie-talkies. We were like brothers. So one time I remember really early, we were really little, and we were laying on the floor, and I think it was a werewolf or something. I drew a werewolf climbing up the side of a building and a girl like screaming, like sticking her head out the window. And it was this tall building. And Danny decided, hey, let's continue this. And he got other pieces of paper, and we were just drawing crazy stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, it sounds horrific now, but a plane crashing into one of the buildings, and just all kinds of we loved monsters, bats flying out of one of the windows. But we stacked these pieces of paper up about 6 feet tall, I think, and it was just all these. We just kept drawing all different kinds of stuff, and that's one of the first things I remember drawing.
That's amazing. I love it.
It was weird, but it was cool.
So, do you have any hobbies that are not related to comics and action figures?
Like maybe a hairband?
Well, it used to be. Did you know that? Is that why you mentioned it?
Yep.
I used to be in a hair heavy metal band. It was when I was, probably 3 or 4 years before we moved out here to New Jersey. We played all over Indiana and Ohio, and it was just awesome. But yeah, I played in a hair metal band. Why? Do you have a photo of it or anything?
I don't have a photo. I didn't have any idea.
Yeah,
I can pull it up right now.
Like we had for a while, like my hair was screwed up because I got a perm. Oh
wait, Amber,
that's me in the pink pants in front.
Yeah,
with the shades and the pink pants and the long hair.
Oh, that's amazing.
After I got out of that band and stopped perming my hair actually grew. It was like down to my shoulders, and that's as far as I could get it because my hair was getting just wrecked by perming it. And then it grew down probably about halfway down my back before I finally shaved it all off. But yeah, that was good times. We had a lot of fun in that band.
Wait, we got another one.
Why?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's me being all sweaty. Yeah, I think that's actually when I went back home to visit one time, and I think one of the guys that I was in an old band with got me up on stage for like half the set. I was, I thought he was going to call me up for one song, and he made me play for like half the set, the remainder of the set. And by the end, I was probably 350 pounds there. By the end, I was sweating like a pig. It's like, I'm not used to this anymore.
That's awesome. Okay.
Bill wants to know what year was the first photo?
The first what?
The first
photo
photo.
that you show.
Oh,
with the pink pants.
I'd say that was about probably 1989, 1990, something like that.
And what was the band name?
That one in particular was Beth Aven. Bethaven. Because Bethel is the house of the Lord. And the guitarist came up with Beth Aven is the house of evil. Because we were all dark and hairband. Silly.
I love it.
Yeah, it was silly.
That's cool.
Whatever.
Oh,
we had fun.
Well, and that's what it's all about.
There was a band, Mr. Hyde, that I played in, and there was about 4 different bands that I played in around Muncie, Indiana. The 100 miles or so, and in Ohio. So, yep, that was a part of my life.
Woo!
I have to tell you though, I mean, getting to be in like hair metal bands and getting to make toys for a living and just all the things that I've done in my life, I have no regrets. It's freaking awesome, everything I've gotten to do. And I'm the luckiest guy on the planet.
I love it.
Well, we feel pretty lucky because you make the toys that we love. So
Uh-huh.
we're
I've said
super
before, and
excited that
I
you've
mean
been
it.
able to do this.
I mean it, that we stand on the shoulders of giants, like the guys who started the toy industry and like made names in the toy industry. We're just fortunate to have gotten lucky enough to do the things that we do. Like we've gotten to do He-Man and Batman or DC superheroes. We've even gotten to do some Marvel superheroes and a plethora of other things that we've gotten to do that are just amazing properties. Plus, we're doing our own properties now that people are really enjoying a lot. So I couldn't be more thankful.
We're so excited. Okay. What was do you remember what your very first job was? You were a kid and you got your first job. What was that?
I mentioned Pizza King before. The first job was pushing a broom in the Pizza King parking lot because it was like a couple blocks from my house, and I was really good friends with the manager there and everything, and he put me to work pushing a broom and sweeping up the parking lot and cleaning it up. I couldn't do anything else. I wasn't allowed to. But then after that, I had to quit because I got a real job, a paper route. So with the Pizza King job, pushing the broom, I was able to buy a bicycle, and I bought a bicycle with big baskets on the back of it, on the sides, and I was able to get a paper route using my bicycle, and it was cool.
That's awesome. Like, how did you first, like, where did you see your first Mego and think to yourself, oh, I want to get one of those?
That's a good question, because I don't remember when I first saw it. It probably would have been Spider-Man. Spider-Man would have been my introduction. I mean, I think Fantastic Four came a lot later, but I was collecting Megos for a year or two before that. And I was picking and choosing, mostly because I couldn't afford them, because I grew up poor. So mostly because that, rather than, I just didn't want them. I wanted all of them, but I couldn't get them all. But I think it was probably Spider-Man, because I remember going into this store called Scott's TG&Y. I don't know what TG&Y stands for, but I went in there and I saw both in boxes and on blister cards, I saw Mego displays, and I was blown away by them. I had no idea what they were. I hadn't seen them before. I hadn't seen commercials or anything. And it had to be Spider-Man. That had to be the first one that I bought. And I was like hooked after that. And I think at the time, I think they were only like $3, $2 or $3. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, when we think of how much things cost now as they were back then. I mean, to me, that's probably one of the craziest things.
Yeah.
So how did you go from being in a machine shop to going to Kubert School to working at McFarland? Because you said you made it through 2.5 years.
No, it was about a year. It was about a year and a half.
Year and a half before you went into McFarland Toys. How did all of that come about?
Pure dumb luck. Like, all my life, it's been nothing but pure dumb luck. But I was working at a machine shop here in New Jersey, and I was going to the Kubert school, and one of the guys in the machine shop came in and said, hey, because they had seen some of my drawings and stuff. And one of the guys came in and said, hey, there's this company that does toy cars and trucks and dolls and stuff. And they're interested. I told them about you, and they're interested in seeing some of your stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, toy dolls and trucks and whatever. I went ahead and gave him a call. He gave me their number. I gave him a call. And when I was talking to them, they were saying stuff like, they're blah, 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 Todd Toys, blah, 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 Spawn, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Are we talking about the Spawn action figures? And at that time, I was really into Spawn. I'd seen them on the shelves, and I was like, wow, those are awesome. That's what I would want to do if I could make toys. But like I said before, I didn't realize toys were made here in the States. I thought, they're overseas in China, Japan, Taiwan. And so I went for comic book school. So I said, oh, okay. I was like, on the outside, I was being calm, saying, oh, okay, yeah, I'd like to come in for an interview and show you my portfolio and everything. And on the inside, I was screaming. I was like, holy crap, this is McFarlane Toys. And I took my portfolio up there, and I knew then, and I know to this day, it was terrible. Absolutely awful. It was just a crappy portfolio. But they had me come in and do some part-time work, and doing bad part-time work. I was not really very good at it. And Jim was showing me how to fabricate. Jim, my business partner, showed me how to fabricate stuff and how to do molding and casting stuff. And they eventually asked me if I wanted to work there full time. And I was like, oh. And I went back to the Kubert school, and I was telling a couple of my instructors, I'm working at McFarlane Toys part-time, and they've just asked me to come work full-time, and I don't want to drop out of the Kubert school just to go do that. And all of my instructors were like, what? McFarlane Toys asks you to come work full-time. You leave and go work full-time. You don't stay here. That's your inroad. Wow. You've been hired like any other comic book person. If they got offered a full-time job at a comic company when they're going to comic book school, they would take it. They wouldn't hesitate. And they thought I was silly for even questioning it. So that's what I did. I left the Kubert school and started working full-time at McFarlane Toys. And then here we are.
So do you remember the first action figure that you had a part in designing?
Let's see. It would have been accessories. Like I was not sculpting at the time, because they were using Chavant clay. It's this sulfur-based clay. Really stinks, but it was really useful for getting nice details and stuff. And I didn't know how to use that stuff. So, but what I did know how to do was fabricate stuff. That's taking like plastics or metals or whatever and just creating like machinery parts or weapons or accessories out of them and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think what I would have. It was probably an early Violator being Spawn. I know there was a cyber Violator that has like this big mechanical spike coming out of his back and one mechanical arm and a mechanical jaw. I built all that stuff for that. Eric sculpted the figure. He sculpted the Violator figure. And then I built all the mechanical parts for that thing when they released Cyber Violator. So it was kind of like cool. The Four Horsemen's very first collaboration there.
Yeah.
Eric sculpting the figure and me doing fabrication on it. So I think that was probably the first figure that I worked on. There was some other little odd jobs that I was doing at the studio, but that was probably the first figure.
What is your favorite thing about designing like action figures? What to you is like, oh, this is what I want to do?
The designing portion of it, I absolutely love it. I have to tell you, everything. There's nothing that I don't like, because I've said a million times, I don't believe I'll ever retire. I think I'll do this until my eyes and my hands can't do it anymore. I love designing and drawing the figures. I love doing the accessories and stuff like that, the fabrication of stuff. I love when I get to sculpt stuff, and it's everything I think is great. There's nothing I don't like about it. I'd say the initial, like when you initially design something or draw something, that's probably my favorite part of it, though.
Gotcha. So let's go back and take a look at some more of these things that you sent me today. So these are drawings that you have done for figures that either have or have not ever been created.
Mm-hmm.
But doing the drawing, the creating, the putting it together. So as we go through a few of these, can you just tell us what you remember about them and what they are?
Well, this is an exoskeleton Batman. I know that I fabricated all the legs, the two arms and stuff like that, with a gun and all that stuff for it. But I don't know if it ever got produced, if it ever made it into production. I did the design drawings, and then I sculpted and fabricated all the parts for it. Eric sculpted the figure itself, and there's the figure itself. I'm pretty sure Eric sculpted that. It might have been somebody else who sculpted it, but I built the parts on a figure that Eric sculpted. So if somebody else sculpted that figure, I'm sure that it was sculpted on top of something that Eric had already sculpted. But that was for DC. It wasn't DC Universe Classics. I think it was the Batman line. And this was for DC Universe Classics. It's Brainiac's ship. And it ended up we didn't get to make the whole thing. It was only like the top half of the skull. And Jim actually fabricated it and was building it. And then the project got axed. It was going to be a base that, like, the top half of the skull is going to be this base that Superman was flying over and like flying down to like attack the ship or whatever. There was going to be a clear flight stand on it, but that ended up getting axed. Or actually, it was Supergirl was going to be flying toward it, but never saw the light of day. We fabricated it, but it didn't get produced. This is for back when we were sculpting figures for Mattel for the Batman animated series. I don't recall if Mattel asked us to draw this to come up with designs for the Superman, or we just did them on our own and presented them to Mattel. It was one way or the other. But I think that one of the guys over there asked us to design the Superman as opposed to the Batman to present to Warner Brothers to possibly create a cartoon for it. And so I drew up my version of the Superman, and he went through a lot of changes. And I just kind of compared the look of the Batman to that and like made it a little different. These are some of the characters that I had come up with for the Superman. It's like an old school Superman from like the 40s or whatever, and then modern day Superman, and then you have Supergirl there. She's a little different than what you see her normally because her hair's dyed black and different colors. And then Bizarro in red instead of blue. And then down there are two versions of Lex Luthor at the bottom. It's the suit businessman Lex Luthor, and then there's the supervillain exosuit Lex Luthor. Those were a lot of fun to do. But again, never to see the light of day. Oh, this is we were doing a line of figures called Symbiotech. It was 4 Horsemen produced figures. It wasn't for Mattel. And this was one of the characters that I came up with. It's like a big mosquito praying mantis dude. And then it had these little, I guess they're like caterpillars. And if you look closely, that's 2 caterpillars there. There's one on the bottom is supposed to be like the legs, and he's kind of upside down. And then the one at the top is kind of wound around him, and he's got the arms. So that's a weird design. I don't know why I came up with that. Oh, this one's a different. I don't remember what the name of this one. I don't remember what any of the names of them were. But I did the big mech girl there, and Eric drew the little female character. But she's really cool.
This was another one I looked at, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make her.
maybe we'll do it in Cosmic Legions. You said you didn't like Cosmic Legions, though.
Well, I'm loving them a lot more than I would have thought, because I just don't like sci-fi movies and stuff have never been in my wheelhouse. Kevin loves them. And it's just not ever been something that I've really enjoyed. But like the figures that you guys do and 4 Horsemen does, I mean, they're freaking works of art.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm loving them. Like, probably one of my favorite figures ever is Slog. I love that big meatball. I mean, I love him
too.
I mean, I just love him, and he sits on my desk, and he's always there, and I look at him all the time. So, and it's a Cosmic Legion. Who would have thought that me, who was never into sci-fi or cosmic or any of that stuff, would love the line as much as I do? But
when Eric first sculpted all the first wave of the Cosmic Legions figures, I saw Slug, and that was instantly my favorite. I was just, I was in love with him. I thought he was great. And then we sent him off to the factory to be mass produced. And then they came back, and I got to actually play with him and move him around. And he was he was the first one I grabbed, and he was great. I loved him. And then I grabbed that big orange guy, Kragnar.
Yeah.
Fell in love with him now.
Yeah.
He's my number 1 now. Slog's a close number 2, but Kragnar is my number 1.
Now, Arakagor, I love Arakagor. He is amazing, and he is again another favorite of mine. More on the mythic side rather than the cosmic, but it is crazy to me how much I like the figures. And even in my head, now that I've started customizing some in my head, I've got ideas going of things that I want to do customs of. And, I've put a lot of things in motion to do a lot of the customs that are in my head. But amazingly enough, out of the, 5 or 6 customs that are in my head that I want to do, 2 of them are cosmic. And I would have never even thought that I was going to do that. But I am loving it. And then when I saw her, I was like, man, I got to figure out how to do her. She's awesome.
Yeah. The previous characters and these characters were from Symbiotech, and it was a line of figures that we did prototypes for, but never saw the light of day, where they have one large we're call it like a beast, and then a rider. And it was a long story, but there were these like mechanical parts that would fit somehow on the beast, and then the riders would ride them. If you come to the studio, you can get a glimpse at some of the prototypes that we did for them. And these are all just designs that didn't get made, that you know, the Symbiotech had stopped by the time these were ready to go. But
yeah,
this guy, he's like, this head looks right on this body. The green head looks right on the purple body. You put like the mechanical parts on him to where this guy's riding him, and the head actually fits pretty good. It looks cool. I should have
that's awesome.
yeah, I should have given you an image with that head on there, but I didn't.
That's okay, because this is awesome.
This is super cool.
Yeah, this is so cool.
Thanks.
Ooh.
And this is kind of like a Pikachu with spikes.
I love it. It's so cute.
And we have a porcupine lady that rides him.
Yeah, she was awesome as well. Okay, had to do them in 2 different groups because I couldn't fit them all in here in the one. So this is the next set, I think, that you sent me.
These are called Zodiac Pack. We have this thing called Fantastic Exclusive where fans were allowed to come in, and we had put up a bunch of different designs of characters that we might potentially create as action figures. And fans were allowed to come in and choose like which character they liked the best. And from that, then they could choose like different colors that they liked the best and different accessories that they liked, and all different kinds of aspects that characters were, fans were allowed to choose the characters and the aspects of them that, you know, that were cool, that they liked the best. And these are just some of the characters from, it was one of the lines called Zodiac Pack that I put in there, but it wasn't, those didn't get chosen. I can't remember. I think it was probably Scarabus that got chosen that year. I think he was part of the, I think he was part of the Fantastic Exclusive, and he got chosen. I don't remember what the first 2 were, but this one is Cancer with, you know, she's riding the crab, the little crab mech. I love mechs, so
right.
I love creating a crab mech. I'm a Cancer, so thought that was cool.
I am too.
And there's Taurus. He's a little skinny guy that turns into this big, giant, hulking monstrosity when needed.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I don't remember. Started to say Sagittarius, but that's not it. I don't remember who she is. There's Pisces, obviously. He's a fish. The Pisces then again, and then the girl on the right is Gemini. She's almost like a ghost, where she would these 2 beings, ethereal kind of beings, would come out of her arms and do her bidding. Oh, there you go. That's her. Oh. And she's almost like goes into a dead state when that happens, like where she's almost asleep, and those things just do whatever she needs them to do.
Just amazing.
Oh, this is from another line. I don't remember what this line was called. There's another one from Fantastic Exclusive, and I cannot for the life of me recall what it was, but it was these characters that transformed into these big monsters. This one's obviously inspired by Alien.
Right.
And that's one of the bad guys. He was a minion. It's a big bug dude with another bug dude on the shoulder. It's minion of one of the bad guys, the evil sorceress. That's one of the characters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They have like stands. That's these immensely powerful beings that get created by the people that make these stands. I can't really explain it, but they're kind of like genies, and that's what these are. There's a female that transforms into this thing, and there's one of the bigger guys that transforms into this thing. There, that's her stand. That wasn't a thing at the time when we designed this, but it's kind of like a genie.
That's awesome.
And that's his like genie type character. And that's the evil sorceress that kind of accidentally gave them the three kids their powers. And she has these bug monsters that she kind of wields and has them do her bidding. And she's pretty.
They're amazing. Yeah. Well, they're all just simply amazing. As I was looking through those as you were sending them to me, there were several in there. I was like, man, I wonder if I can create that. Oh, yes. And if you guys create it before I do, yay me.
Freebie. You don't have to do the work.
That's right. Previous to Four Horsemen, previous to you guys becoming the Four Horsemen, creating the company of the Four Horsemen,
right?
What was your favorite character that you created?
That I created?
Mm-hmm.
Previously to Four Horsemen. That's a tough question because I wasn't really creating, like I was drawing stuff, creating characters that way, but I didn't create any characters in toy form when we were like.
So not necessarily toy form, but like that you drew that eventually became an actual action figure. Now, whether you did the actual, fabricating on it, but what would be your favorite that you had, that you started the process of making it into an action figure?
It would have to be after Four Horsemen. I didn't start designing and drawing things that would become eventually action figures until we were working. Till we were with Four Horsemen and working for Mattel.
Gotcha.
It would have been something in the Batman or DC Universe Classics line that I would have designed.
So talk us through that. So you guys are all working for McFarlane, and then you got together and decided to create Four Horsemen. Like, what caused that, and how did Four Horsemen come out of it?
Well, Eric and Jim and I had been working together, I guess maybe a couple years at McFarlane Toys. And McFarlane Toys was starting to move in a slightly different direction than we really wanted to, because we love action figures, with articulation and all kinds of stuff, and more like superheroes and monsters type stuff. They were moving in a little bit more realistic direction and more statuesque. Like they were doing like the military stuff, which we weren't really into. They were doing a lot of the different sports stuff, which we weren't really into, and they were very statuesque. They didn't have any of the elbow and knee and waist articulation, none of that. And even though the stuff that they did was spectacular, like their sports stuff to this day is unparalleled, but and the military stuff is beautiful too. It's not what we were into as far as what we wanted to do with our careers. And so Eric, Jim, and I decided, you know what, it's time for us to kind of try to do something else. And we decided to start our own company, to do our own thing. And we put in our notice. All three of us put in our notice at the same time. I can't say that the guys at McFarlane Toys, the head guys, were happy about that, but it was time for us to move on. It really just was the end of the point in our careers working at McFarlane Toys. So we got in contact. We had made a contact with somebody who worked for Mattel indirectly, and we got in touch with the guys at Mattel, and they told us to fly out there and have a meeting with them, and bring portfolios or whatever we wanted to do. So we flew out there to Mattel, nervous as heck, and
I bet.
yeah, we had suits and ties and briefcase. Walked in there, and when we were walking up to Mattel, there was a bunch of guys just dressed leisurely on the back dock, and they had shorts and just regular shirts on, t-shirts and stuff. We walked in and they were all like that, and we were here. We looked like monkeys dressed in our business suits, and we thought, we thought, okay, this is good because we'll look professional. So we actually went in there and set up a bunch of prototypes of stuff on the tables, and they loved what they saw. They loved what we were saying, and we said, what we would really like to do, we'd like to go and revamp and relaunch He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And they said, that's exactly what we were thinking. That's what they were going to hire us for. They had never hired like outside design teams before. They'd only done stuff in-house. And so they said, that's what we'll do. We were fortunate enough to have them front us some money to start our business, to get things rolling. And we were just flabbergasted by that. And we can't thank them enough for starting our business for us. We paid it back eventually. But then we started Four Horsemen Studios and signed an exclusive agreement with Mattel for a while. It was probably 5 or 6 years that we were exclusive with them. And then we started branching out and doing other things. But that's how things came around.
That's awesome.
Again, pure dumb luck. We just happened to know a guy who knew a guy, and pure dumb luck.
So the first things that you guys ended up creating together then as a company after you started Four Horsemen was for Mattel.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And it was unusual too, because it was like Hot Wheels play sets. Like we were drawing, I was sitting there at my table just drawing Hot Wheels play sets, and like I didn't think that was what I wanted to do, but it's a paycheck, so I'll go ahead and do it. And we were doing, but then we started doing like there's a character named Max Steel that Mattel was doing. It's kind of like a 12-inch scale G.I. Joe type guy. We started designing some of the villains for Max Steel, and we worked a little bit on the Harry Potter line that they did. We actually made the Harry Potter figures that they presented to Warner Brothers to get the license to do Harry Potter. So that was a win and a feather in our cap.
Wow.
Oh, we made this. One thing that I forgot is we made this. It was a Harry Potter RC. It was Harry Potter riding on this broom, and we took an RC motor and wheels and stuff and stuck it in the bottom of it, and we drove it around the studio, and it worked well, and they took it to their presentation, showed it off. I don't think that anything like that ever came out though, but
I don't remember seeing anything like that, and I would have loved to have seen something.
Yeah, like that would have been cool to see that in production.
So what is the first line that the Four Horsemen did as Four Horsemen? Like, what was that first? You guys got together and talked and said, well, hey, let's release these. I mean, what was that kind of like?
The first line that we did would have been for Mattel, and that would have been the Batman line of figures. And I think that they did Robin and Superman in-house, but all the rest of the Batman characters, the villains and everybody, we handled. And that was awesome, just getting to get our hands on that stuff, because, you know, we were just out of McFarlane Toys and hadn't ever done any other properties. And this was something that's like, it's considered one of the all-time great properties is Batman. That was fantastic that we got to sit there and design and sculpt and fabricate all this stuff. So that was our first, I guess, line for a company. Our own line that we first started with was Magma Core. And I think that it was a little bit before its time, because Magma Core was very urban vinyl looking. So for the urban vinyl people, I think it was too articulated. And for people with action figures, it was too chunky and urban vinyl style, because it didn't really sell that well. So we released one figure. It was I don't even remember his name now. Commander Argus. We released Commander Argus of Magma Core, and didn't sell well at all. Didn't do great, but we released one figure, tried it out. We have a lot of prototypes, but that's all we did of that. And then we moved on to Seventh Kingdom and Gothotropolis. And so I guess that Magma Core would have been our first Four Horsemen specific release.
Gotcha. When you guys were all sitting around and talking about like releasing a line, and your mythic line came up, and you guys started, you know, talking about that, like, how did you guys come up with, well, let's do some, you know, knights and you know, Templars and you know, the Four Horsemen? I mean, where did all of that come from?
That was something that Eric, Jim, and I had wanted to do for I don't know how long, is do like medieval fantasy type characters. And at the time, Lord of the Rings had just ended with Toy Biz had just ended the Lord of the Rings figures. They weren't doing them anymore, and we saw that that was a way for us to finally, get our action figures in there. And we saw that there was like an empty space for it. We knew that we could do them, but there was just nothing out there being done. So we figured, let's go ahead and give it a shot. And we did the Toypocalypse show, which was a show in New York City. And we showed off the, I think it was like 7-inch scale figures, because they were going to be 3 3/4. Mythic Legions almost gotten of what were like Glyos figures, 3 3/4 style. And we showed those off, and people seemed to have a good opinion about the stuff. They thought that it would be, worth giving it a shot. So we said, let's go ahead and try it. And we sent prototypes to the factory. The factory said, hey, we could do these at 6 or 7 inches rather than 3, and it's not going to cost you that much more. We thought it was going to be really expensive to do those. And so we tried it, and we said the one thing that we didn't want to lose is the fact that Glyos figures could, you could pop their shoulders and their waists and their heads off and like interchange them and make them customizable somewhat. And the factory said, we can go you one better. We can do the elbows, we can do the ankles, the wrists, a lot of different joints, not just 5 points of articulation. So they did it. We got them back, and they they work perfectly. They're like the articulation, we were worried about that it was going to be loose, but it was actually nice and strong. You know, there's a few issues here and there, which always happen during a line where like a figure, like the figures fall over because of the ankles, or the waist pops apart too easily or something like that. And, you know, we tell the factory, you got to fix this, got to change that. But essentially from the beginning, it was just the perfect marriage of, you know, articulation and the ability to customize them.
That's amazing. So how does it feel like when you guys started, you did it as a Kickstarter and you had a set number that you guys had, okay, these are going to be, you know, what you're going to get for this amount. And it ended up growing and growing and growing and growing. Like, what was that process like as far as that first set up, you know, when that set up to grow, and how did you guys handle adding on figures until there were, I mean, there were a ton, right?
Yeah,
in that first
yeah, there
group?
were. What was it? It was like 22, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And we actually had done a Kickstarter before that with the Gothotropolis line. So we thought we knew what we were in for, and we thought that, oh, it's going to do about this much, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but it'll be, you know, this number of figures. And so we created some stretch goals. So if it gets to this point, you would also get this figure, and then you could get this figure. We didn't realize, we thought maybe we'd need, you know, 12, 13, 14 figures total, including, you know, a few of them being stretch goals. And it just started like, wow, those stretch goals are going really fast. There's people just buying into this thing, and they're selling so well that the stretch goals are, you know, we've almost used up all the stretch goals that we had. So Eric and Jim and I start brainstorming, what do we do? So we started putting together some other prototypes that we could put in there as further stretch goals. And finally we got to a point where we're like, you know what, 22 is enough. And we just like, that's enough. And we ended the stretch goals there, and we were like, come on, that's got to be enough.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
From that point, it's been really popular since then, and we're thankful for that.
So, you know, the first group you sold this many, and now the community has really grown.
Yep.
And you're selling a lot more now. Like, how does it feel to have gone from this concept to what it is now, as far as now you've got Mythic, now you got Cosmic, now you got, you know, Figure Obscura, and I mean, these things are selling like gangbusters. I mean, you guys are really putting out some amazing art.
Well, thank you. Well, when we did the first Kickstarter, I forget how much it made, but it was like $300 something thousand. It may have been more, but so we did the second one. Like we sold a couple of waves through our website, and then we did the second Mythic Legions Kickstarter, and it almost broke $1 million. And we're like, how is this possible? And it's just exponentially gotten more and more and more popular, and we've been able to sell more and more. And it's like, from the start of us doing this, just showing them in the basement of the Toy Tokyo at the Toypocalypse show, to now, it's insane. It's stunning. Like, I can't put into words how well we've done with this. It's staggering to me. It's a toy line, and people are really appreciative of it. So, you know, we're really appreciative of people being appreciative of it.
Yeah. I think for me, like personally, you guys being at the shows, you guys being accessible, you guys answering the questions, you guys talking to the fans and taking the time to, respond to fans when they have questions, and everything that you guys because you guys are fans. I think to me that has made a great difference. And you're producing little pieces of artwork.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I mean, that's the key, I think, is that we're also fans. I mean, we're not just
Right.
fans of our own line. We're fans of all kinds of toys. And we understand. We know what people want to see. If somebody is into an action figure line, we want to make them into that action figure line. So hopefully we've done a good job at that.
Absolutely.
So out of all of your mythic legions, just mythic legions,
Mm-hmm.
what is your favorite?
I'd say that until this coming Legions Con, my favorite is the troll, the orange troll with the one eye.
Oh yeah.
Because when Eric sculpted that, he sculpted it with like an ape-like face. I love apes. He sculpted it as a cyclops. I love cyclopses. And he sculpted it in this big orange form, which is like the Thing, my favorite character of all time. If it had blue fur on the loincloth instead of brown, I couldn't be happier. That would be perfect for me. So I'm gonna have to get one of the customizers. Oh look, this is the Thing figure that Eric sculpted for me.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, it's two of a kind. I have one and he has one. So yeah, that's
we need a customizer to do blue fur for your troll.
Blue fur shorts for the arena
There you go.
troll.
All right, customizers out there. He needs blue fur shorts for his troll. What would be your favorite cosmic character?
It was Slog, but Kragnar, once I got him in hand, Kragnar is my favorite so far. There's some cool ones coming up, but Kragnar is still my favorite. I love the skate backs, the regular skate back and the mountain skate back. So I don't know, those little four-legged creatures they're adorable. So maybe
I can't wait to have them
be my
hand.
favorite. Yeah.
Maybe
they'll be my favorite, but Kragnar is my current favorite. But only
and what is
a little bit compared to Slug.
Gotcha. What about your favorite figura obscura?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I already know what the next one's going to be, and that's probably going to be my favorite. But removing that one out, I think that my favorite. I think it's the Mask of the Red Death. When Eric was sculpting that, I was like, oh, Mask of the Red Death. I'm not sure that, oh well. But that thing is so cool. And it's versatile in that you can remove all of his clothes and it's just this grotesque looking zombie guy underneath. That's a great figure. So I think he's really my favorite.
So you have very unique thing here where you know what's coming. So forget that you know anything that's coming up. Forget all of that stuff. Go to what is like what Cornboy really, really wants in a line. If you could create your own race, character, whatever it would be, that is specifically designed for Cornboy, what would it be?
I'd have to rip off the Fantastic Four. and make all kinds of characters that like a big giant rock guy and a dude who stretches, a guy who maybe he doesn't catch on fire, so I don't get sued, but he would like have some type of energy abilities, and the woman would turn into water instead of like being invisible or something like that. Yeah, I'd rip off the Fantastic Four.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, if you're saying what I would like to do more than anything, then I would just like to do the Fantastic Four. But if it's just for us that that we don't get to work outside our box, then I would say I'd probably try to rip off the Fantastic Four.
That's awesome. The community that has grown around your mythic, cosmic, and figure obscura lines, Walter running, starting that community and running that community, and it's unlike any other thing that I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, how does that, when you come into that community and you see everybody talking about your figures, I mean, how does that make you feel? What is that to you?
It's unbelievable because, like you said, I've never seen anything like it. Like, I've been collecting for 40 years, and even though I haven't been really into the message boards and stuff like that, when we started Four Horsemen Studios, I was, and even though like fans and stuff would participate, and they'd be all over our toys, there'd be some back and forth where it didn't seem too pretty. It wasn't really happy there. But Walter's created a community in the Cabal that is just, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Like, everybody's so welcoming. I mean, obviously there are some troublemakers here and there. That's going to happen. Usually they get swatted down when that happens, but it's unlike anything I've seen. Like, everybody's so welcoming. Everybody is helpful. And like you were talking about earlier, the doing the customizing and stuff. I don't think that 10 years ago, before this all happened, anybody could have gone onto any message board and say, "Hey, I'm new to this. How do I do this?" And I don't think that they would have been welcomed with open arms and shown how to do things and tricks of the trade. It's unbelievable what Walter's built.
It really is.
Yeah.
Do you have at least one of all the figures from Four Horsemen?
I did until I can't. I just can't collect one of every. I mean, all of everything anymore.
Right.
They still keep bringing me cases at the studio when they come in, and I do something else with them. I just can't hang on to them anymore. I'll give them out to nieces and nephews, or I'll take them back into the studio and put them in a free box or whatever. I can't keep all of them. I have to only keep my favorites. There's just way too much stuff now at this point. But
there is a lot of stuff at this point.
I want to collect everything.
I know that you said that all of your shelves have your Mezco on it. Do you have any of your Legions up on your shelves at all? Your favorite Legions on your shelves?
Not here. I did at the studio when I'm working from home mostly now. And when I was at the studio, I had shelves of Mythic Legions figures. But now that I'm working at home, I haven't brought those home yet. So when I go back to the studio, and I'll start loading up my shelves again.
Gotcha. I know during last year's Legions Con, you were unable to attend due to health reasons. Yeah. How are you feeling now? Like,
I'm feeling
how is
great
your health?
Feeling great now. I'm doing good. I'm hoping the doctor's going to give me a a green light for Legions Con. I think that he will. He's given me a kind of cautious yellow light for doing things, and he says that whenever I go anywhere that's like, you know, large crowds or whatever, I should be masked up. And it was you know, it was really a bummer not to be able to go to Intern for a day and G-Con and Legions Con last year. And so I'm keeping away from all conventions and stuff right now. It's just so I can save myself for Legions Con. But yeah, I'm doing better now.
Well, good.
Thank goodness.
We're glad to hear that.
Yes.
Thank
Praise
you.
God. We're hoping to have you there. We missed you greatly. And I just want to make sure that okay. So we don't have very long left in this. So I am going, we normally do a lot of random questions, but I am pretty adamant about finishing at 9:30 simply for the fact that I get up at 4 o'clock on Friday mornings.
Ooh.
So I have a very early, so I'm pretty consistent with ending at 9:30. It's you know, I try my hardest.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you the two major questions, and I'm going to start, and Amber is going to end it up for us with the big question at the end.
Okay.
Again, take your mind out of I work for the company and know what's coming, and put your mind into I am a collector and this is what I would like to have. Everybody, this is the question we ask everybody, and it is not confirmed. Y'all be nice. How big do you want the dragon to be?
3 feet tall. I've been saying for a long time. Yeah, I've been saying for a long time that if we're going to do a dragon, when it stands on its hind legs, I want it to be at least 3 feet tall, because, you know, that's got to dwarf the Legions figures. You know, we want actual Legions to have to go up against this one guy. So
that's good.
That's my hope.
I love it.
Now, doing that, producing it at a factory, and then trying to ship that in a box. Oh,
yeah.
What a logistical nightmare that could be. But I guess we'll try it.
Yeah.
So I guess finally, what is one thing that you can tell us that you've never told anyone else?
That I am a big chicken shit. It really is. When I went into the hospital a few years ago, I found out that I had to have open heart surgery, and I don't ever get worried about anything. I don't ever get scared. I just go with the flow. And when I had the surgery, everything was fine, and my recovery was real fast, and it was all hunky dory. And then this past November, they told me that, we got to take your mechanical valve out and put another one in because you got an infection on your mechanical valve. And I was like, how? And the doctors, the dentist checked my teeth, they checked my body, could not figure out where the infection came from. It was just there, and it had to be removed. And it was like, when I was going into it, I put a brave face on for everybody, because I don't know what it is about me, but I don't like people worrying about me. I don't like people, depending on me or expecting anything from me. I just, like I said, try to go with the flow. But that literally scared the shit out of me. And I didn't know if I would make it or not, but I was scared. And I don't think I was ever scared like that in my life. And I didn't tell anybody that I was scared. I just dealt with it. And I guess I had reason to be, because when I came out, it was bad. Like, they had to put me back under during the surgery. Like I came out of the surgery and then they had to put me in like a coma for a week. I'm like on drugs coma. And then when I came out after that week and woke up, I was hallucinating for a couple weeks or so, a few weeks, I guess. I don't remember, but I was seeing things, and it was a horrible experience. And it took me, I was in the hospital, 3 different hospitals for 4 months. So that, it just scared the crap out of me, and I never told anybody about it. So you're hearing the horrible, sad story for the first time.
Well,
But it was awful.
We are super glad that you are feeling better right now. And we are going to continue to pray for a recovery and that you are feeling well enough to come to Legion's Con.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Everybody, leave CB alone when you come to Legion's Con. Wave from afar. So
no hugging the Cornboy.
No hugging the Cornboy this time. Just wave from afar. But yeah, we definitely missed you, and we definitely cannot wait and pray that you can be there this year. It is such a great event, and I know that you were so disappointed not to be there last year, but
I was sitting there in my hospital bed with really bad Wi-Fi, trying to see everything that was going on there, and that sucked.
Well,
I think probably one of my wife is going to kill me guys gave me the infection. Yeah, that's
that seems pretty accurate.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, I love it. All right. Well, we are going to be saying goodnight. We are, So you probably haven't heard. So last Legion's Con, my husband and I got there on Thursday night. Friday, we went down to G-Con. Kevin started feeling cold around lunchtime on Friday, went up to the room, got in bed, ended up with a terrible infection. I had to rush him to the hospital Saturday morning at 4:00. So we were in the hospital for Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon. Left, and they told us we should not be leaving, but we're not from there, so we went ahead and came back. Kevin said, we've got tickets, you need to go to Legion's Con. So I went by myself late Saturday afternoon and Sunday, and then Monday morning I drove him home, and I drove all the way from New Jersey to North Carolina by myself. Wow. And then we got here and made the doctor's appointment for him to go to the doctor, but he is so much better. So he didn't get to experience Legion's Con either. So he is really looking forward to this year. It was an ordeal last year for sure. Yeah, you do. More so than him, but yeah, it was tough. It was hard.
What hospital was he in here?
The one that was a few minutes, 10 minutes away from the hotel, whichever one and I don't remember, but it's whichever one was real close to the hotel. He was telling me he wasn't going to go, and I told him that he could either go to the hotel or go to the hospital in New Jersey, or we were driving home and we were going to the hospital at home. So it was up to him. Either way, he's going to the hospital, and so he finally said, "Okay, let's go here." Ended up having just a really bad infection, and got 2 doses of antibiotics, and then gave him a oral antibiotic to take as well, and he ended up sleeping through pretty much the rest of the weekend.
Wow.
And I would go downstairs, and I would get get some stuff and bring it up and check on him, and go downstairs and come up and check on him. So it was hard. It was hard because he didn't get to experience it, but it was hard on me too, because I was like going back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. She got bossy.
Well, Kevin says you got bossy.
Good. But Yeah, but it was an experience for sure. But I know that Kevin is really looking forward to this year, so he can come, and he is so much better right now than he's been. So it's been awesome. All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna end the show. I do have one surprise that I was able, Kevin got the thumbnail done for our next show before this show ends, and I wanted to show everybody because we're super excited about it. We are going to have the ladies are getting together and picking their top 5 cosmics.
Ooh.
And we are going to talk about the new Ox Crew, and we are going to pick our top 5 cosmics. All the ladies are going to come up and pick, well, not all of them, but we're going to have a bunch of ladies on, and they're going to pick their top 5. And we are going to end the summer of Cosmerium talking about cosmics.
Awesome.
So
that's super cool.
I am so excited. I think that's going to be one of the best shows.
Cool.
And we are going to have a really cool giveaway that we didn't get to this week that's going to relate to Cosmic next week. So I'm super excited about that. CB, thank you so much. This was
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So much fun.
Time. I feel like I know you like so much better now. Like
We're basically best friends.
We're basically best friends now.
Always.
And we would love probably to have you come back on again next year. So we will be in touch with that, and because we have more questions. Like, we didn't get to them all, so we still have, yeah.
That's okay.
We have lots more to ask. But thank you so much for coming on, and thank you everybody for joining us live. And we will see you at the next episode with hopefully a ton of ladies talking about cosmics. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, everybody.